Well, my first guest represents over 20 Epstein survivors, most of whom have been Jane Does for many years. I'm talking about famed victims' rights attorney Gloria Allred, who is with me now. Gloria, I have got to know your reaction when you saw his arrest, because you've been trying to get answers from the former prince about his ties to Epstein for years. What was your reaction?
Yeah, absolutely. Since 2019, I've been calling out publicly for Andrew, formerly known as Prince, to speak to the FBI, to speak to Homeland Security, to speak to law enforcement. And of course, now it's 7 years, and he's never done so, even though he offered in 2020 to speak to law enforcement in the United States after the United States Attorney Jeffrey Berman from New York publicly urged him to do so. He never did. Right now, today, what we have is state action. We have state action because it is alleged that he committed misconduct in office. So we have the state quickly reacting to the fact that there have been in the Epstein files certain emails that were sent by him, meaning Andrew, when he was Prince Andrew and the trade envoy from the UK. Let's note, of course, that priority is given to this. And that is a good thing that he is arrested. Of course, he's not charged yet.
Yes.
But also, where's the priority for crimes against women and children? There has been evidence of this. I'm not saying that Andrew is a criminal or should be charged with a crime, but I'm saying there certainly has been evidence of sex trafficking of children and women, by the way, through landing in the UK, sent by Jeffrey Epstein. Where is there an arrest for that? Perhaps it matters more when someone is revealing, or at least maybe revealing, a secret of the state than a raped child or a woman who has been sex trafficked. This is disturbing to me. I'm happy that he is arrested, that there will be an investigation. But let's remember, we still have a long way to go. In the United States, we have almost no accountability. We only have one trial that has gone to a conviction, and that's of a woman, of a British citizen, Ms. Maxwell.
What we choose to prosecute tells you what we really value and what we prioritize, Gloria, as you well know. I mean, Spencer Cooven, who has represented multiple Epstein survivors, he sees this arrest of Andrew as the perfect opportunity for the FBI to go to the UK and interview him. Should the DOJ be trying to interview Andrew?
Well, of course, Andrew could voluntarily come and be interviewed by Congress. He's certainly been invited by Congress to do that. Is he going to do an interview now, Andrew, with the DOJ, even if they went there when he has failed to do so for 6 years after having been publicly invited? I don't think so. But what I'm concerned about is the president says it's a shame for the royal family that this has happened. But I'll tell you, Laura, I'll tell you what I think is a shame. It's a shame that the Department of Justice reportedly has not released millions of pages of Epstein files after the Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed and required the release of those files by December 19th. It's a shame that the victims have had to go through this, and I want to give them so much credit, because if it were not for their courage and if not for their speaking out, the Epstein files, where there's information and emails from Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein back and forth, he would never even have been arrested today for this. So that's because of the courage of the survivors. But I still say women are being given a second-class position here, because still the main crimes against them have not really been fully investigated. We've had names of powerful men in the United States redacted from those files. How can there ever be justice for women and children who are victims if there's going to be the hiding of evidence and the complete the legal names of so many victims having been exposed? They're being punished, these victims in the United States, instead of having justice afforded to them.
DOJ, that's not a rhetorical question, she asked. How can there be justice? Gloria Allred, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, former